The world of Elemental is devastated, broken by a war of magic. Scattered across the desolation are channelers, beings capable of accessing the shards and the magic they contain. This ability has made them mighty sovereigns of the kingdoms and empires who seek to spread their dominion across the world. The world, however, will not be conquered easily. The cataclysm has awakened ancient powers who claim vast wildlands across the world. Before the channelers can conquer each other, they must first conquer the land itself.
Hello people out there in the YouTubes, and welcome to Let's Play Fallen Enchantress, a game that for some strange reason is also called Elemental. Might be because the world is called Elemental. I don't know. This is a 4X strategy game by Stardock Entertainment, and it's in the style of something like, say, Masters of Magic or Civilization. With, well, some aspects of it do remind me quite a lot of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. It is a fantasies-themed game in which, well, my previous statement should be quite the clue here. You build cities, armies, and you try to conquer your neighbors. Or do some other stuff in order to try and win the game. So we're gonna go into a new game here, and we get to either pick a sovereign and play as their empire, or we can create our own sovereign here, and we can have basically we can tell the game if we want to be like proficient in certain types of spells, or if we want to have like an armor or another sort of profession or ability or whatever. Get to pick some talents and appearances. This is actually quite the fun part of the game, at least to me. Yithral cloak, okay. It's a shame I can't rotate them, or if I can, I don't know how. That looks kind of awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But no, I don't have enough of a grasp of the game to create my own empire and actually think I'm going to be successful with it. Also, I haven't played as all of these guys yet. I have played as Oracle Cerisa, and I have played as Lord Markin. Or, more to the point, I'm currently playing as Lord Markin. I've almost beaten that one. And I'm having a lot of fun with the game. So I thought, hey, why not, you know, make a series out of it. Have some fun. You can also see that all of these people have unique equipment. This is stuff that is only available to them. You can also see that a faction like Oracle Cerisa are not allowed to have armor, except for their champions. They can only wear leather. Or they can use magical garments. That's it. Each of the factions, as far as I can tell, have their own unique things. This is really interesting. +1 to essence. You can build a scrying pool. That is pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. Queen Persephone. Okay. I'll go into that when we actually get into the game, if you're curious as to what an essence is. Got Magnar over here. You can make a Scar Stone for extra fire damage. Fleshbound Tomb, Slave Lord. Raising a city, transfer half the population to your cap. That is pretty interesting. I don't like racing cities, but this guy seems like the guy you'd want to do it with, if anyone. Lady Irene. Lots of bows. She's basically the token elf. Yes, she's the token elf. She has air magic and life magic, and she has stealth archer, and she's a rebel with master scouts. I mean, come on, she's an elf. She just doesn't look like one. Oh, I suppose she kind of looks like whatever. Maybe I should have picked a faction to go for before I started, you know, whatever. If you don't want to watch me go over the factions and what I find interesting about them and so on and so forth, feel free to skip ahead. But if you want to see me actually, you know, play the game from start to finish and why I pick the faction I pick and whatever, then by all means stay along. I can't promise it's going to be interesting, but you're welcome to stay along for the ride. Henchmen. What is this? Can train henchmen with a henchman technology level and can use equipment like champions. Ooh, that is interesting. Kind of makes him the evil genius of this. I don't know. Athkin leather cuirass, fending blade, Athkin longsword. Okay. This guy is a betrayer. Can recruit Empire and Kingdom champions. Broken loyalties, a spell that converts a city to... Wow. He's wealthy, he's cruel. Cruel does what? Unrest and physical attack power. Okay. Okay. He starts with an additional 500 Gildar, which is quite the thing. I like the betrayer trait. That bronze shield and one-handed spears. Oh. That is also good. I might play as Emperor Caravox. Let's see. Those who call the people of Kraxis traitors are fools. The Krax are survivors, men and women who were trapped in the east when the continent split. As the savage remnants of the Kurgan's armies ravaged the lands, the Krax stood tall and steadfast, remaining united to resist the Fallen. Now that those same fallen tribes have begun to form empires, you must make an alliance with them, for they are neighbors, and the kingdoms of the west are a world away. I see. I see. So, diplomacy-wise, you have these, what is it, 8 factions that you can play as. Each of them either belong to the kingdom or the empire. They have differences in troops, differences in what type of magics they can unlock, and so on and so forth. Most of them you can actually see which one they belong to. You have Varga over here for the people of Yithril. Armies of man, those who the armies of mankind called Trogs. I don't remember. Oh yeah, you've got empire and then you have kingdom. So you have an empire, 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 kingdom, 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 and kingdom. And what this does is basically you have an animosity in between each other. Like say Lord Varga over here would not get along with Queen Persephone, but he'd get along with Oracle Cerisa. Much better. But yeah, I think we're going to go with Emperor Caravox. He seems fun, to me at least. He has one-handed spears, which is an amazing thing to have. The bronze shield is... it gives extra dodge versus ranged attacks. It seems like a good shield. Certainly not the best shield I've seen in the game, but it's a better than average shield, that's for sure. The Betrayer is why I want him though. Because as you go through the game, you can recruit champions, basically hero units. And they can become very powerful units and spellcasters in your armies. However, the game is not really that careful in where it spawns these, and sometimes you can end up in a situation where you're playing as the Empire and all you have around you is a bunch of kingdom heroes. In which case, the only thing you can do is slaughter them. They won't talk to you, you won't be able to recruit them. They're basically just there to give you or your army a bit of extra experience, and I'd rather have them for my own. That is why we're taking him, so that didn't take long at all, did it? No, no. World size, I like the large world size here, and that is going to mean that this game is going to take a long time. But I like it because in this game you have certain special areas that spawn on the map that are basically tied to the lore of the game. I don't know that much about the lore of the game, so don't ask me about it, because I won't have any answers to your questions, should you have any. But I find those interesting. It basically gives you a few little side quests that usually you need to have gotten to a certain point in the game, be powerful enough to actually complete them, but the rewards can be quite interesting. It can give you access to special towns, new areas with resources that you can pilfer, things like that. So we're gonna go with a large world to get as many of those special places as possible, because I like the special places. There are also some special places that always spawn. They are tied into the victory conditions of the map. I believe they don't spawn if you choose not to have that specific victory condition on. But there are quests that you can do in order to win the game. You don't have to kill everyone, or, I don't know, win diplomatic victory or whatever. Champion frequency, we'll keep that to moderate. We are doing random map, by the way. There are pre-generated maps. I don't like them. And if you want to see them, play the game yourself. Map type will be random. You can see here we've got ravaged, balanced, mountainous, desert, swamp, temperate. We're gonna go random. Whatever. Wildland frequency, many, above average, balanced, blah 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 blah. It'll be random. Quest frequency will be random. Difficulty, we'll set that up to challenging. Monster frequency will be random. Pacing normal. Magic strength moderate. Dense random. Moderate. The world where magic shards are dispersed moderately. Random shard frequency will be chosen. Whatever. If we get a low frequency of charge, it's not the end of the world. Not for this. It might screw over some other factions. Then again, it could be a high spawn, and those factions will become even stronger. Resource frequency will be dense. Really? Should I go random? Yeah, let's just do a random everything. Random events. Random events have screwed me out of cities before. But let's have fun with it. Let's keep those random as well. Difficulty will be challenging. 7 opponents. Empire versus... yeah. Will be even. Opponent's surrender threshold will be random, and the typical intelligence of the opponents will be challenging. Challenging AI is a good place for strong strategy game players. The AI gets no bonuses and is using its best algorithms. Yay, algorithms! And victory conditions. There is conquest, basically kill everyone else. There's diplomatic, basically don't kill everyone else. And win anyway. You have the master quest, which is kill a certain specific something that I'm not going to spoil for you because I might just go for that this game. I don't know yet. And spell of making, which you may notice I have turned off. I don't want it. But we can read the tooltip. Spell of Making enables players to win a magic victory. It unlocks through research and requires time and control of multiple charges to cast. The reason I don't like Spell of Making is this game is similar to another game that I've played, not on my channel, but I've played it. Warlock, Master of the Arcane, which is basically a civilization game with magic involved in a fantasy setting. It had a similar thing like this. Basically, it's a spell, you can research it, you can cast it, it's typically expensive and takes a lot of turns to cast, but once you do, you win the game. I don't like it in this game because you have no idea what the AI is researching, so you don't know who you need to be wary of to win the game. All of these other things, you will be prompted when you notice that an AI is close to that type of victory. Conquest especially, because if an AI is close to a conquest victory, that basically means that you're about to die. And diplomatic victory by forming an alliance with all players in the game. You can stop that by not making alliances. Simple. Or making alliances with everyone, winning the game for yourself. Spell of making, like I said, you don't know what the AI is researching. You are researching spells along with other things. So there's no way of knowing if you need to suddenly rush an AI because he's about to cast a spell of making. I believe the game prompts you saying, hey, this guy is about to cast a spell of making, or preparing for it, or whatever. But since we're in a large map, I might not even be able to get an army over there before it's actually cast. Don't want that. Don't want it. It was fun in Warlord Master of the Arcane until they patched it because you could just counterspell it. It was amazing. The AI started to cast whatever it was, spell of unity or whatever. Yeah, I might believe that's what it is, the unity spell. Costs 10,000 mana or 20,000, whatever. Takes a fuck ton of turns to cast. You just like, nope. Declare war on him, counterspell. Oh, that was a ton of fun, but equally it kind of made that unity spell worthless because you could just counterspell it for like 20 mana or something. Oh, it was fun to troll the AI with while it lasted, but since there's no such thing here and no such thing in the Warlock Master of the Arcane anymore, there we go. Use your words, Acciyn. I don't like using that sort of victory condition in these types of games. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. Let's actually play the game. I could have done this while the loading screen was going, but that would require me to be intelligent, wouldn't it? If you stuck with me for this long, good on ya. So,
men of the West call you a traitor. They say you have betrayed the principles of mankind. Nobility, honor, fairness. They look down upon you with contempt and say they will never trust the Kraxis again. They are fools. History shows it was the Amarian who abandoned the Kraxis, who left your armies to stand alone in the east. Your grandfather and father, your friends and neighbors died fighting for the race of man. You are determined not to share their fate. You will forge a new Kraxis, one that stands apart from all others, men and fallen alike. A civilization destined to be spoken of in the same breath as the kingdoms of Halis and Malaya, of Al-Asharoth, and fabled Antheros.
So there we go. Everyone gets a little introduction into their race. It's a bit of background story, a bit of lore. I like it. Units of finishers get 10% per city level to accuracy and defense on most branches, yes. And the trader. So that's us. And this is our starting location, and boy oh boy do I like it and hate it at the same time. I should also mention that there is an expansion to this game, Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes, I believe it's called. I wanted to play that originally because it added a few UI changes and some other mechanics that I found really enjoyable. Unfortunately, every time I try to play it, it crashes on me after 10 to 15 turns. It's still in beta though, so I'm not too worried. Anyway, let's get on with the game. So, as you can see here on the map, we have a river right here, which I would have loved to be able to settle. And each of the tiles have 2 or 3 different little icons representing what a city built in that location would benefit from. Basically, you have your food, you have your production, and you have your essence. And that's what I was talking about with the essence, being able to actually build that being very interesting. The essence, as far as I can understand it, is some sort of magical doohickey that allows you to cast enchantments on cities that have essence within them. If they don't have any essence, you can't enchant the city. Beats me as to why. We have a river over here, and the only tile that has an essence close to the city is over here, and I don't think that actually counts as being on the river unless it actually continues this way, which it probably does. But for now, I think I'm going to actually forego putting any sort of enchantments on my capital. It's not ideal because the enchantments can do a lot for your cities, and your capital is a very important city, obviously. But at the same time, that's later in the game. I get more food over here. It's the same production. It's a riverside. The river allows you to build special buildings that you can't build anywhere else. I could turn it into a commerce city. Yes, we're gonna build right here. Ooh. Now, you may notice I only have my sovereign at the moment. Your sovereign can settle your first city, but beyond that you need settlers, or whatever this game calls them. I don't remember. It's not settlers, but it's something. Okay? It's something, and I'm sure we'll find out. You may notice there's like a coastline here, very steep, whatever. There's no naval anything in this game. You don't build ships, you don't go out sailing for anything. I don't think there's even flying units you can get over there. I could be mistaken. Whatever. So, we shall settle our first city. An empire is formed. You watch as your flag, the flag of Kraxis, flutters in the wind, high above the simple huts of Goyrahedai. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Goyrahedai? Hadiga? Whatever. That place that I'm renaming as soon as I get out of this screen. It is a beginning, this place, the new capital of the Empire of Kraxis. But you turn away all congratulations. You will be satisfied only when the flag of Kraxis flies over all lands, east and west alike, when the sight of it and the sound of your name causes both men and fallen to tremble in fear. Pretty epic for just building a city, wouldn't you say? So, we have built this place, which I'm going to rename. What should we call you? What do we call you? What do we call you? What do we call you? I don't rightly know. Also, that looks weird. Game, stop it! Stop it. You stop that. It's not funny. Even though I'm laughing. New name for settlement. will call you... You know what, fuck it. I'm calling you Ankh Morpork. That'll be fine. Oh, goody. If only we could settle on the actual river, that would have just made it so much better. So, first order of business, we could start gaining Gilder or increase our zone of control. Zone of control, I don't have any resources that I would claim from doing so. So we're gonna start building a merchant, and you can see the city actually expands when you put new buildings into it, and the building will be visible on the map. Another little detail that I really enjoy about this game, also if, say, I have a... click on it, it's a water shard right here, where I could build a shrine and collect the water shard, which would give me mana as well as increase the power of my water spells, I believe. Seems to be correct, yes. If I build the city like here and then improve that, the city would actually have incorporated it into like the makeshift wall that it has, which is a really nice little feature, in my most humble opinion. Excuse me as I take a sip of water there. And this is it, the start of our empire. So let's end the turn. Now that we are acquiring knowledge, we can focus on relearning lost technologies. Oh my. So there are 3 different tech trees in this game: civilization, warfare, and magic. Warfare and magic are sort of interchangeable. Warfare deals with stuff like leather armor, metal weapons, bows, riding horses and vargs, and so on and so forth. And magic, well, it does deal with shards, it deals with crystal mines, which we haven't discovered yet, so I'll talk about those when we get there. And magical stuffs, like a monk's robe, which actually gives defense and dodge, magical weaponries, burning hammers, stuff like that. Amulets, and all this other cool stuff that if you say like the faction that can't equip metal armor, like you're limited leather, you could go down this path over here and get to like immunity to be knocked prone and dodging and all sorts of different defenses that isn't metal armor, basically. You can also get like bashing maces and other fun stuff. And the civilization deals with your civilization. It's basically city improvements, economy, but also a bit of military stuff like logistics, and which allows you to create squads, which is basically when you train a unit of infantry, it'll have more people in it. So, first thing I want is restoration, and the reason for this is I'll be allowed to build workshops, which will give me +1 production per material. Now, as you can see here, we currently have a production of +18, and that is +8 per materials. We have 3 materials, which is the little materials. The game works on a multiplier system. So if you have, like here, we have 3 materials. If we build a +1 production per material, we'd get +3 production here. Food works in the same way. We have 5 grain. We get 25 per grain, so we have 125 so far, and we can grow to a maximum of 125 people here. I don't know exactly all of the levels in between when the city levels up and not, but 19 more population will give us a level 2 city here, and we will be allowed to excuse me, we'll be allowed to expand it into either a fortress, a research place, or a city. I forgot what it's called. We'll find out soon enough. You are going to go over here and uncover a rusty greaves. We'll equip that. As you can see, we equip that on our legs over here, and we get a bit of extra defense. And we have a death shard over here. Harvest it to get death shard things. And that's a wilding warrior. I think we could take him in combat. God damn, I'm coughing a lot today. But I'd rather not take the chance. Now, your sovereign can't die in battle. But if he loses all of his HP, he is wounded and teleports to your nearest city. Right now we only have Ankh-Morpork over here. And then he's out of commission for 5 turns. Also, you're gonna have to excuse me for a moment. There we go. Sorry about that little interruption. Let's continue. I believe I moved Emperor Carvox. Can I rename you? Yes, I can. You are now going to be Emperor Acciyn. Much better. So let's end the turn. It's not going to be a lot that we can do right now. A rune token is inside the statue. The one who owns the token can command the statue. Cool. We get a sand golem. Sand golems are... they're okay early game. They're pretty strong actually. Early game they're immune to poison damage. They never suffer a critical attack. Never suffers a critical attack. Oh, yeah, I guess that works. They're immune to critical hits basically. They're unfortunately inaccurate, but they're tough, meaning that he is level 3 and he gains +3 hit points per level. Units do level up, as does your dude man over here, and well, any other units that you go out into combat with. So basically your entire army. Let's keep exploring and see what the fuck we have around here, because I kind of want to know. I don't want to stay on one city forever. We also have Nocht Nightbringer over here, who is a champion that we could possibly recruit. By standing next to him like so. He's a level 1, he is pale as fuck. He's a merchant, which means that he'll give us 2 additional guilder per season. That's always good. He's an earth apprentice, which means that he can, as he levels up, he can learn earth magics, and he's lethal. I like you. You need a companion, my friend. Who could do worse than not? I know the old roads here. 110 guilder buys you my knowledge, my company, my protection. Well, I guess you're better than nothing. So, we'll get this guy, and we're starting to get a little bit of an army going. Well, sort of. Also, you may notice some of these boxes here are crossed out. We need to actually research the capability of taking more than 4 units at a time with us. So there's that. What do we have? Ruffians, Black Widow. Ugh. Well, I do have a Sand Golem, so it's not too bad. Darkling Lurker, a Rook Spiderling, and a Wilding Camp with a Wilding Archer. Okay. Good to know. Next turn. I'd love to find another place to settle. Now you may notice all of the little icons over here that were around, made the game look all pretty and stuff. They're gone. Once you settle a city, it's basically it's basically blocking you from placing another city anywhere too close to it. So we're gonna have to do a bit of scouting here in order to find a new location to settle our next city on. And don't mind that noise. This does not look like fertile land. I don't expect to be able to actually settle anything around here, but there is a thingy here, and I like thingies. Now, Pioneer, that's what they're called. I'm actually going to make a scout and send him out in a opposite direction of where the rest of my army is going, just to get a better view of the situation here. And why are you pinging at me? What the heck happened over there? Is there a special thing there? There's probably a special thing there. Or maybe it's just, hey look, there's a might army. Well, okay. Might armies are fun. They're free experience, basically. You find an item in the wagon's remains. These arm guards combine defense and tetanus in one convenient package. Well, awesome! I've always wanted tetanus in armor. Gimme! And I think we're gonna kill the might army. It's an army of mights. Who knew? And they're all the way down here. So, combat. You get into this tactical combat stuff over here. Be wary, this place can glitch out, though it doesn't happen very often. Let's just say it's not a bad idea to have at least one archer in every army. Basically, this happened once to me, but once is once enough, where one of the enemy armies actually spawned behind these mountains over here. So I had to put the game on like autoplay itself, and my archers had to shoot through the mountains for me to actually win. It wasn't all that fun. It really wasn't. Okay, you may also see I have mana. I gain 2 mana per turn. That's probably from my sovereign over here. Mana is used to cast spells. Oh my god. I don't think I need to actually use my spells on these. Having a spellcaster unit, though, is good. It also means that they don't conveniently end their turn once you've moved them, so you're actually going to have to press the pass button in order to move them, or tell them that they've moved. Let's kill some mites with a critical hit. Critical hit. And dodge. They're gonna dodge back, and you see he actually retaliated. Good. That is not so much a skill of his as it is an attribute of his weapon. We'll get into that later. And the might army is destroyed. And we get 4 gold from that. It's not much, but it's something. Now, Scout, you are 3 turns away from completion. That is fine. I can't rush that because I don't have the requisite technology to rush. We have a fruit grove over here, as well as a camp that has a little quest icon on it. Cool. We might go do a quest, everyone. Might just happen. As soon as we cross this hill that looks like it's made of dragon scales or something. Come on, Scout! There we go. Okay, what's the quest? Upon entering the camp, you are accosted by a haggard individual wrapped in bandages. My lord, our caravan is under attack. I rode out for help, but no one here will fight off the trolls, and they won't let me ride any further. Trolls? Yeah. I have no time for this. I don't want to fight trolls. Are you fucking nuts? Trolls are painful. They kill stuff. I'm not sure you've noticed or not, but I'm kind of made of stuff. I'd like to keep it that way. Ooh. Ooh, we have a crystal crag over here. Crystals is a resource. You gather it up here. It's not up here yet because we have none. But what they do is they allow you to construct magical shit, like magical armors and weapons. Much like if we can find an iron site, we can construct iron weapons and armor. Holy crap, it's like it actually makes sense. Misplaced wares. Most of what's in the crate contain... Most of what the crates contain has been ruined except for one single item. A frantic... a bottled fire? Really? That's the only thing that wasn't ruined, is a bottled fire? Well, okay. You'd think the bottle would shatter after a while if there's something happens to them that actually ruins them, but whatever. Remove the cork to do 16 fire damage to a target, okay. That is an item that can be used in combat, and, well, as you saw, it deals 16 fire damage to a target. Very handy. It also doesn't cost you any mana, since it's an item. And here is a site we could settle. It's not an amazing site, it has 3 food, 3 production. It's a site, I guess. It's not going to be amazing for economy or production though, so... I'd very much like to find a better site for it. It's also far away from my capital. Ooh, we have a clay pit over here. A clay pit is a resource that adds 1 material to a city, and that is before multipliers happen. Those are very, very useful. It'd give this city, for instance, 8 more production. That's kind of a lot. That is definitely something I might send out and build an outpost for. We also have a water shard over here. Definitely looking like I want an outpost over here. We also have a prestigious location. Excellent. Okay, you do not... don't auto move next turn. Just let me handle it, okay? Like so. Now, the scouts, you may notice, don't take a movement penalty for moving up hills or through forests. They always have 2 movements, no matter what, and they've also found Somok the Blade and his army. Somok the Blade is a level 7, which means I need to learn a specific technology before I can actually recruit this guy. Now, in the time it's going to take me to actually learn that technology, it's 100 turns at least, I believe, unless I rush it. Let's have a look, actually. I believe that's in Magic. Air's Journal, Science Temple, Brayer's Notes. Yes. It's 146 turns, if I rush it. In that time, he could get attacked by all manner of things and just die. So, the fact that I found him is no guarantee that I'll actually be able to hire him. A shame, but what are you gonna do? As for you, we have a pioneer, gonna take 3 turns. I do like my first pioneer to be a city, though. It gives me so much more production early. It really does. Ooh, we actually have iron up here. I did not notice at first. I suppose the fruit grove is going to add grain, so it's technically a 4-3 city. It's not too bad. Can I add anything else to it with resources? Doesn't look like I can, no. Unless there's something down here. I suppose that's possible. So far, though, it doesn't look too good of a location. And here's new land. 5, 3, and 1. That would be a good site. It's also got a water shard, a lost library, which is... no, I was thinking of something else. ancient ruins or something. I believe that's what I'm thinking of. That would have been amazing though. I would definitely settle a research city over there if it had that. I might still do that, although it's so far away from my empire. And I don't have roads. I don't have roads. Yeah. This is safer. It's got a mountain. It have, like, attacks would have to come from over here or over here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to settle that as my next city. I'd love to go all the way over here, but that's not gonna happen in a while. Just not gonna happen. And oh, hello! Bone ogres down here. So much for hoping there'd be resources down there. Fine. We're gonna move. We're on the move. On the road again. We do have a river. Again! The essence is in the place where the river is not. That's iron. And that's a water shard. And that's a river. And I think the clay pit is close enough that it'd actually go to this city. If I build the city first and then the outpost. I think the clay pit will go to this city. So it's a 5-4 riverside city. With an earth elemental army as a neighbor. Right. Maybe not settle over here just yet, after all. How about that? I don't want earth elemental army in my face. Because that's what's gonna happen. As soon as they're the neutral monsters, especially the ones that are actually in like an earth elemental sanctum or a home base, I guess you might call it. They don't tend to move out of there. But if you encompass your city borders, if you encompass their home, so to speak, within your city borders, they'll get pissed. They'll attack your city. And you'll sob profusely. It's not a fun situation to be in. So I guess we're settling that spot. Fine. I am training another pioneer though, there's no question about that. We are making over here, we're making an outpost. That's for sure. Or the game could crash.